You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Oh my God, am I going to need my tissues? This is going to be an Oprah moment. Oh, Lord. Who's doing the interview, me or you?
Anyway, just that short, random intro. I can't even talk now. It is obviously Sam here. Carl is currently, and I know I can't exactly say he's sunning himself up in New Orleans because I don't know if it's nice, but apparently it's raining today. So it's just me, and we have one of the Salazars on, which is the best in my opinion. Don't tell Victor. And that is Lynda.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be part of the show today, and I'm glad to be back with you and with the Miss Lovey Carey as well. And I know Carl is in New Orleans. Yes, that's our home away from home. So who knows where Carl's at?
I think they're kind of chilling a bit today because it's a bit rainy. So
it has. Yes, and I know the weather has been crazy from New Orleans all the way up to where we're at here in Virginia and in Texas, where some of our folks are at. It's just been that where it's terribly cold, and then it gets really hot, and then it gets cold, and then it gets hot, and like for today, we're getting snow. So, yeah, that's what's going on over here.
That was like us last week because we've had like storms, we've had storms. I can't think what the latest storm was, but we've had Storm Sierra and she brought snow and we were like, what?
Yeah. Yes. And they were saying they didn't think it was going to cover the ground, but guess what? The ground is getting covered. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's melting. So that is the one perk. They keep on saying maybe 1 to 3 inches. Now they're saying up to 5. So, yeah, right after this, we will definitely be hitting the grocery store just to get little last minute stuff. We're like really food junkies. Like we like to have that comfort food.
Just in case you get snowed in.
Yeah, just in case, because you never know with the weather here in Virginia. But but that's what's been going on here. And I know that it's a little bit late, but Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. Because, well, it's February and we're going into March, but we hadn't talked until this New Year. So Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy late New Year.
Always finding a time to celebrate something.
Yeah. That's the best option in it sometimes.
Yes.
So obviously I looked back earlier and we haven't had you on the show for like 7 months. Yeah,
it's been a while, and then we had you and Carl on our show. I think it was just a while before. I think we were getting ready to go to New Orleans or New York. I don't know which one, but I know we were getting ready to head out. But we had y'all on our show, and I know that it was a late night for y'all.
Yeah, it was. I was trying not to fall asleep on that one. Well, that way.
I remember that. But yes, it was 7 months ago since we last talked, and really glad to be back talking with you and Carrie as well. I can never leave Carrie out because I know she's like right there behind the scenes. Sorry, Carrie. I just. But other than that,
she's in behind the scenes stuff, but she likes to mention so every now and again. So
Yeah, you see. So I want to congratulate y'all on the Parasearch radio book. I got myself one, and I have it, and I will be posting pictures of it as well. So we just recently got ours, so we were enjoying reading that. So we definitely will be reading it while it's cold. Just wanted to tell y'all that we got that.
See, I already knew this, guys, but there you go. Glenn just told everyone now. She told me the other day.
I know. We like to always show the love to all our folks, where we're, being from the Séance Room. It's one of those things that we just want to show the love from all of our friends and those that we consider more than friends, put their stuff out there and let y'all know, the supporting. We love to support our folks. So if folks go to the Séance Room, they always know what's being posted, and we always make sure that we try to promote everyone and let everyone know what's going on in the Séance Room, just because of the fact that we had to take a little break, from where we were on, on one of the radio shows as well, and then we had to take a break because, with the holidays and everything going on, and we decided it was time for us to venture out and do our own podcast, and so and YouTube. So there's a lot coming from our end that we are really excited to be sharing with everybody, and we have a lot of video that we've done. We are really happy to have, we have Rick Martinez, who is a really good, close, he's more like family to us. He comes from the same area of Corpus Christi, Texas. And he is going to be our audio guy, and he does awesome work. And then, of course, it's Viktor and I. And then we have our lovely Mama C, who is with us. She's been with us from the get-go. And so, and then we're happy and honored to have Kalila Smith, who is, born, raised in New Orleans. And she has the Haunted History Tours there. So it's going to be a really, with all of our experience, we have a lot to bring to the show, and we can't wait to share it all with everybody. And we're excited. We are really excited about our new journey that we've taken.
So with you saying obviously that you do more video work, will that be going on to YouTube?
Yes, everything will be video, and even our podcast will be going into YouTube as well. As a matter of fact, our first launch was on February 14th, and we have our podcast video, episode 1, which is Be Still My Heart. And we went ahead and put it on there, and we're getting ready to have our other podcast, and then eventually we'll be doing live, because we've been getting a lot of requests of a lot of folks wanting to chat and talk, and they even, we're probably going to get some folks calling too. So, we're just thinking of a lot of ways to, we've heard everyone's voice, and, like we tell the Séance Room, after all, the show is yours. It is all about you. You're the one that brings and helps us open up that show. So we always say that. That's pretty much our motto for the Séance Room.
And that's that, because I know you have done a few Facebook Lives, haven't you? Because I kind of caught up with one, because he was the election at the time.
Yes, well, we try to do Facebook Live a lot, Viktor and I. We, and I know Mama C, all of us are trying to get used to going to Facebook Live and just talking to everybody. And we also do Facebook Watch Live as well. We try to bring in everything, because everybody's told us, why don't y'all do this, or why don't y'all try to this, and we will always ask once in a while we'll ask those questions to everybody, and also, we're letting everybody know, hey, we're hearing you, we're hearing what you want, and we're keeping everything under the paranormal scope, and that's really what the Séance Room is about, and it's always been about. We want everybody to be comfortable in our group room. We don't want to be judgmental with anyone that comes with ideas, because we don't want anybody to feel that anyone's greater than the other, because that's what the paranormal world is about, all of us learning and trying to figure out the same journey towards, whether it's about the spirits or whether it's about haunted places or haunted items. We also are speaking to folks that we have a really good friend that has become a friend that has an oddity shop, and he knows a lot of the folks in the oddity world. So, we'll be talking a lot about oddities and just anything and everything. I like to kick it old school because of the fact that that's what I grew up around. And so I want to bring that back to everyone. But I also want to hear what the young generation is doing too. I don't want to keep them out because, they have a lot of things going on. And so, we've been blessed to know some young groups out there that are learning, and they have a camp, and so we have learned a lot from some of the youth, and you'd be surprised what the youth can bring to the table as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you find with like youthful people, that sounds wrong. They have not saying the older generations have less interest, but the younger people have more of an interest, don't they? Because they all with obviously we're not saying children here, but they all have imaginary friends concept and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what happens is, I think a lot of us forget that we were young once, and that we were all, we all got a peak interest in the paranormal one way or another. And I think some folks forget that, you can't stop the youth from being curious about the paranormal or supernatural world. They are going to be curious. Now, what we can do as an older generation is teach them and give them advice the best way we can to make sure that they don't make the wrong choices. Or if they do make the wrong choice, then they know the consequences that could happen, and they know that folks are out there to assist them and not judge them. And I think that's important, because there's a lot of up and coming folks coming in, and if we don't listen to their voice, and and right now I think paranormal is not about politically correct. And the way I mean by that is, I think right now the younger generation really just wants that thrill. Yeah. They want to just go to places, and they're not realizing about the research behind it. But we also have to remember, as the older generation, and and the ones that are in the middle, that we were all like that. The only difference is we didn't have the cameras, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have social media the way it is. So I think mistakes are going to be done, and there's nothing that we can do to stop those mistakes from folks. All we can do is send the message and make sure that the message is out there, and try to not be so judgmental, because I see that a lot on social media about them not liking the younger generation doing. But you know what? We have to remember we were there at one time too, and we also had the older generation that would say, you shouldn't do this, or if you do, there was always those hints given to us, or those folklores that were told to us. So those were our journeys, and this is just a newer generation where they have a different journey, and we can just be there by their side and help support, but also give advice and wisdom to them to let them know, just don't take this path.
Yeah. And it's good that, because I've got like a few people now who are quite young, and they're getting into it, and it's good to see, especially like, because if your parents do it, and then it's good to see like your own children. Like obviously, I've not got children, but it's good to see that people I know their children have started getting involved in what we do as well, which is good.
And I think that's what folks forget about. I know that it's not a perfect paranormal family world out there. I know this is so funny to say, but I know that some, everybody has a different journey in the paranormal world. And like for Viktor and I, and even for our little group that, from our podcast, we understand. And what we found out was that we all took on the same journey. We all like grew up in that environment, where you have Viktor, myself, Norma, and Rick. We're from the South Texas area. And, we are always hearing about folklores and haunted areas and the history. And all you did was always hear about it. And I had an aunt that would take us on, like, without us even calling it, paranormal investigations. But it was like get in the back of the car, and it was a little truck, and she would literally sit in the front, her and her husband, and they would open the windows, the slide door, and we would all sit in the back, and we'd take a journey out on the country road, and she'd be telling us ghost stories and telling us, in this spot, this and this happened, like the tales that have been happening around town and everything. And there we were, like, waiting to see, is it going to come out? Are we going to see it? Little did I know that I was already getting a peak interest, and that I was going to end up liking it. And, that was something that I liked. And then she would always be the best ghost storyteller. She could really tell some good ghost stories. So I grew up with that. And then, we have Kalila, who is born and raised in New Orleans. So she grew up with that. So some of us folks just grow up in those areas that we end up it's just part of our like natural environment. But we're also taught how to treat it. And in this day and age, you have a lot of folks doing paranormal investigations. Some of them weren't brought, but they had experiences. And so with the experiences, a lot of them do have their kids investigating with them. And you know what? I'm not a parent. I'm an aunt, and yeah. I just know that everybody has a different timing. It's just like, everybody has a different timing of how they're going to choose to show their child that horror movie, or show them scary movies, or, do stuff like that. We can't tell folks how to do it, but we can just say, just keep in mind and be cautious, but we also have to be observant and listen to the youth as well.
Yeah. And it's good as well, so like if it's your child who's like comes to you and's like, Mom, I can see, and it's good that, because I guess with like, obviously I'm not, like I say, wasn't said a bit earlier, I'm not a parent, and I guess it's good as well. So even if it's your niece, nephew, anything like that, it's good if with us being in this field, because with it being family as well, they're more comfortable in talking to you, aren't they? And they're like, well, let's see in this, can you explain it? Or
yeah. And I mean, that's the great thing, I guess, because the paranormal world is out there now.
Yeah.
And everybody sees it on TV. I know that it's becoming easy for folks to talk about it. Now, you still have folks, I think it's still the same as it's always been. You will always have the naysayers and the ones that do agree, the ones that are like, no, I support it, I believe it. It's just a little bit more is being out there and more aware. As when I was growing up, we were lucky, like, if we caught a show on something scary, about ghost stories or folklores, or like the shows I always use that as an example, Beyond Belief. Or if Geraldo came on, he would sometimes have, the Warrens on, or he would have some other, other paranormal investigators on there. And we were always, that was like something that you would catch and be like, wow, I can't believe that that's true, or that could be out there, and you'd have both points. So, the thing about in this day and age, though, you have everybody out there with the paranormal, and it's once again, it's all because of social media. And the only thing is, some of it is fabricated and then some of it is not. So I just say, everybody needs to just be open-minded to all, to everything. I sometimes know which ones are fabricated, and I like to just still listen to them and look at them and hear them, because I always wonder, well, where did they get that idea, or where did they get that story from? And it just leads you to wanting to look into the real thing about it, behind it, as far as, they got the idea. It's like my mom used to say about the Inquirers. That idea wasn't just made up. They just didn't put it in the Inquirers. It was heard. It was, she goes, it started somewhere. There has to be a little something to it. So I always look into how people decide to tell their story. But, unfortunately, in this day and age with everything going on, we just have to be open-minded with everything.
Yeah. That's what with everything though, in the paranormal, even if it's just like someone starting out new, you have in this industry, you do have to be open-minded, because, as we all know, investigate the paranormal, everything,
Yes.
Paranormal or things like that.
Yeah, and that is true. That is true about that, especially when you're in the paranormal field. Really learning and being among the folks in the paranormal world. You want to always be open-minded and not be closed-minded, because if you don't know, if you close yourself to just believing in one thing and one thing only, I'm not saying you can't stand by what you believe in, but you have to be open-minded to know everything else, but with a guarded, keeping yourself guarded at the same time. It doesn't mean that you have to go and do it, or that you have to go straight into it. And it's all about your boundaries and your intuitive gut feeling telling you, okay, I can learn about this, but it doesn't mean I have to go do it or be in there. I know that there's certain places I'm just not allowed to be in, but I can learn from afar, with books or with videos now. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think it's good as well in this field, because we're always learning, aren't we? Like you say, because I've learned totally entirely new stuff what I didn't know existed in this field.
Yeah. I mean, you learn so much. I've even seen it. I don't only pick it up from, because I'm a big horror fanatic. I love horror movies. I do. I'm a big. I grew up in the 80s seeing those low B to the high B movies, but even some of the ones that you see nowadays, people will write a story, do a movie, and it will be like they will use real stuff that they found, and I'm just like, oh wow, I didn't know about that, and I'll start looking for it, and then I'll find books about it and read, about things. And I'm like, wow, I never knew that all this linked up to whether it's sleep paralysis or whether it's about an old folklore, everything links up, and it just always keeps you curious, wondering, okay, you have to be open, and when I say open, I'm not saying, before anybody says, well, you can't be open, but I'm not talking about open on a spiritual thing. I'm saying open-minded as learning, open yourself. It's just like you would tell your kids when they're going to taste food. Be open-minded to the food. Taste it and have. But the difference is in the paranormal, on the spiritual side, you can't be, you have to protect yourself, but it doesn't mean that you can't knowledge yourself with the books and read. You have to put boundaries on yourself and guard yourself. But just because something may be evil to one person, it might not be evil to the other person, because we're all guarded, and we're all looking into each other's beliefs in the paranormal. Like what do everybody has a different experience. Nobody really always has the same experience.
Yeah, no, and in the investigation side of things as well, people should go out to do it for themselves and not other people. If that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Like, you can't. I know what you're saying on that point. What you're saying is people should learn on for themselves as well, and not just base it off of the knowledge of one person. You know, and that's true. That's true. You have things that you can use somebody's info that they got, but you also have to educate yourself on that. You can't just take people's word for it. It's kind of like taking somebody's paper and cheating off the you know, that test at school, and then you just had it memorized, but you didn't really go and learn it yourself. And it's like, no, you want to go learn it yourself because of the fact that you want to be able to be knowledgeable and not just take the word of one person, you know. I know that in the Séance Room, we have one particular person that I really love, and I can conversate with this person all the time and even have great debates with this person. And she knows who she is. She doesn't always like to be called out, but she knows who she is. And I love it because she will do her investigation by reading everything that she can, and she'll look into anything that is being posted, and she'll be like, did you know that this and this happened? Or did you know that this is not really truth here, but it came from here? And I like that. I like that people can talk to one another that way. A lot of people can find that intimidating, but it's not. If you just sit with folks and you're able to share each other's thoughts and be able to have that healthy debate, not an argument. Don't get all passionate in it, because it's not, how can I put it? It's not a personal thing. It's a thing about each other's views. And that's one thing that I like about her, because some people will see it as offensive, and I don't. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? Or what about that? And we'll go back and forth talking to one another about things. And we could go for hours talking about different things, and she'll still have, you know, sometimes there will be things that I just don't agree, and she's, you know, cool with that, and she won't agree always with my views, but we're still good friends. You know, we're able to talk to one another, and we find out that we learn a lot more from one another as well. So yeah, you definitely want to learn yourself. You just don't want to take the words of others.
Yeah. There's a comment in the chat room from Liz. She says, I've been doing paranormal investigations for 15 years and I've only just started reading up on the subject. I wanted to find my own way and then see how everyone else did it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good thing that she wants to do it, and keep on doing your research. You know, just always be guarded. That's all my advice that I give to everybody is keep yourself guarded. You know, know what you can do and know what you can't do. You still have to educate yourself on that part.
Yeah, and don't believe everything.
Don't believe everything. Yeah, don't.
Things like that.
Also, folks have to remember that a lot of things also, you have to be careful when you read things in context. You have to also be careful what, you know, when you're reading and learning, make sure it's a good educational intention and not an intention to, like, you know, because there are some books out there that will have, you know, people don't realize, but it will have like real knowledgeable stuff that were true things written as spells or curses or stuff. And just because you're reading it, you still have to keep yourself guarded, but you can't, you know, but don't go out there doing it because you don't know the practice. You know, it's something that only that person knows the practice, and you're seeing it through their eyes and you're learning through their views, but it doesn't mean that I'm learning to go do it. I'm learning to understand that side of it. You know what I mean? And so you do have to be careful what you read and what you do. And all I can just always advise is just, educate yourself, know what you're doing, and be guarded at all times. And, that's where I go from there.
So moving on a little bit now. So have you done any more investigations where you've obviously, because you obviously, like you said at the beginning of the show, you had a break, and then, so have you done any investigations?
Yes, we did some investigation in New Orleans. We went to some private areas that we are currently researching on. Also, there were some investigations being done in Texas, back at home, that we are getting ready to put those on YouTube as well. And we recently went to New York for a conference, and we did some investigation there too. Also, Viktor and I did a private investigation at a place in Pennsylvania that we know of, and we're getting ready to talk about that as well. So yeah, we have gone to a lot of sites. We're just, I can't share too much because of the fact that that's going to all be coming on YouTube. We did the whole videos, but yeah, we did go to a lot of different places, and we are getting ready to go back to New Orleans again. We were supposed to be there this month, but it just didn't plan out that way. But we are planning to go soon, and then we'll be probably back out in Texas again. So yeah, we have a lot of spots, and there's even more spots that I'm finding out about around in the Virginia and Pennsylvania area. And those are stuff that we're going to do on our own, take that journey and do some investigation on our own as well.
That's the thing as well, though, isn't it? Because, like doing research and that, and you find new places and some places you didn't know about, like you say.
Yeah. There, I know I found a lot of like different places in Texas. We know of some spots, and I haven't even gone there to do investigations in some of those spots, but I plan to, because there are spots that I grew up knowing of. And then there's other places that we are finding out that folks have told us about, and we have gone to do investigations. And then in New Orleans, well, we've been going for almost 16 years in New Orleans. And so we just have gained, we call them more family than friends, because of the fact that we learn all about New Orleans and the area and the history of it. So there's like so much history and stuff that we have learned about New Orleans, and it's not just about the French Quarter. There is like so much more, and we love that part about New Orleans because it kind of reminds us a lot about Texas. They truly hold their ghost stories and folklores just like the way us Texans do. So we've had the great advantage of being able to talk to a lot of folks in the New Orleans scenes. I can tell you that it's going to be a good one on the YouTube, because we even were able to talk to some of the vampire folks and learn about their society, and I think it's awesome, and then you have those from the voodoo area. So it's like we're learning all, we're talking to all, you name it, we're going to talk to all folks. So we then from here in Virginia, we just recently have been discovering a lot of spots in Virginia, and since we're here, we're figuring out, well, we better learn some stuff here as well. And we've been to some places here in Virginia, and of course we're now making journey out there to the Rhode Island area. Last year we were in Rhode Island, and so we did do some little investigations around that Viktor and I had heard about, and we went out there in the Rhode Island area. Also, we have been out in the Connecticut area, and we've had, good friends show us a spot. Jimmy showed us some areas, and that was fun to do. And we hope to go out there to Connecticut again to do that. Also, I've been tempted to go more to New York, and then we go to Massachusetts a lot in the Berkshires area, and there's some really neat stories out there that we've gone to go see and done mini investigations, but we plan to go do like a full investigation.
Yeah, I think it's great as well, though, and to venture out into all these new cities, towns, locations, especially if you've never been before, because you don't know how to react, do you? In some cities and that you get excited and it's good.
Yeah. And so that's something that, and it's not anything that we do. We only do it so we can learn more, I'm more about the storytelling on my part. Like, I love to do more of the investigation where I bring it to you a way a reporter would bring it to you. You know what I mean? That's where I come from. As far as my investigation, doing the investigation, I think that part of me is where I don't want to really do it out in the whole public and let everybody know. I just want to do it where I'm going to learn, and I'm doing it for my journey, but I'm also doing it to let folks know, okay, well, we were out here and give some info of what we found, and just do it at our pace,
Yeah, and it's good you going to these places, because if you say, like, if you post, this is what I enjoy with some paranormal teams, is when they post up on Facebook and YouTube, and you're like, oh, that place looks interesting, and then you go there, and it's good, to have that network.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I love getting to know all different paranormal teams. I love talking to all the paranormal teams and learning from the paranormal teams as well. You get to hear their stories, and you get to hear about what they've done. And you get to know, and also you get to find out, because some of them are from the area, so you get to find out more about the different beliefs that everybody has in the paranormal. And I'm always open-minded to that. I mean, I love to always learn. I'm a people person that I love to get that knowledge from everybody. I like to hear everybody's point of view. I mean, I can sit for hours with folks just conversating about life itself and what brings somebody's interest into the paranormal or the supernatural. I can find myself even interested in the folks that believe in the whole UFO side of it, or the conspiracers, the ones that have the conspiracy theories. I really like being around all types of folks under the paranormal umbrella, and everybody always forgets about those folks do fall under the paranormal umbrella, so they forget about that. But also, I want to be real, when we're trying to keep it real, where I'm not just always, we're not just always all about the paranormal. We're also, a big reality junkie. Like, I am a big reality junkie, so I will always talk about things on our show, about things I've seen on the reality shows, because I'm a real Atlanta housewife, Beverly Hills housewife. I'm a big Bravo person. Like, I can see Bravo all day long and just go crazy. I can see it. Jersey Wives. I mean, I'm just into, it's just so funny. Victor and I do see those, and people, we always let people know, we're real. We're not all about, because a lot of folks just, I guess they think their view on us is like, oh my God, they're like the Addams Family, and it's like, well, yeah, we are, but we also like reality shows. We like to see Bravo, and we like to see the music, the voice, and we love to see all that. And then I'm a big YouTuber. I love seeing shows on YouTube. I do. I love seeing stuff on YouTube. Whatever comes out on YouTube. I love seeing how creative folks get, whether it's on the paranormal side or just on whatever else is coming that way. So, yeah.
And there's me, the messed up person of the group who likes the serial killers.
Okay. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge yourself, because I have put some stuff out there too, saying, "Oh my God," like,
yeah.
Oh, should I be worried that I know that we are big, CSI, like Discovery Channel, Discovery and Investigate. We, and when I say we, I'm talking about like my sister, myself, and my nieces. We're like, we can like marathon that all day long and see stuff like that. But I think it's because my sister has her master's in psychology, and so this was something that she was always studying about the person's mind and stuff, and I myself I've always been curious about that as well, like, oh my God, what makes a person do that, but I'm not gonna go and try and look for, and this is what I mean, be open-minded and knowledgeable, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna go looking out for a person that does it. I'm just gonna learn it through
gonna do it yourself.
Yeah, I'm not planning to. Yeah. That's not my cup of tea. It's just my cup of tea is like, wow, like I can't believe that, and how did that happen, or why did that happen? And then I'm the one that's out there always like overcautious. I'm just like looking like, is that person following us? Who's that person? Everybody laughs at me because. I'll just say, they'll say something about like, oh, that person's nice, and I'm like, so was Ted Bundy,
Right. That's my like mood. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of Ted Bundy, but he's my like go-to serial killer because I love Ted Bundy.
Yeah, you see, so I know that there's folks that have that like, I know folks have a fan following for serial killers, and I don't have. Like, I'm not fanning them, but I like to know.
I don't like love him, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah. I like to know about things like that, because those were stories that were told to us that I was like, oh my God, that really happened. And then, you read about it, and not only that, you're learning about people's personality traits. So, it doesn't mean that just because folks are all about the serial killers doesn't mean that they're a serial killer. It's just that they're interested. It's just like a book lover. You can't go and tell everybody that reads romantic stories that they're all about the love. Because it's just their interest. That's their cup of tea. So, to each their own. That's what I say. But I am a big yes. I see those same documentaries, Sam. And I do see a lot of, I'm also into the whole Netflix, you know us, I'm always like messaging you. If folks don't know, Sam and I do message each other, and we will talk about shows that are happening. I still won't forgive her for the time that she almost gave away Stranger Things.
Yeah. I remember that.
We were talking, she's like, have you? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's just like, already like, and I'm like, you didn't. I didn't see that part. Not there yet. Like, I binged, but I didn't make it that far.
Yeah. My sister's exactly the same though. Like, I'm like, shut up. It's kind of like she can be watching something I've already watched, and then she's like, does this happen? Does that happen? And I'm like, just watch the goddamn show.
Yes. And I'm just like, I don't want spoilers. And I remember telling you, Sam, you gave me a spoiler? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, I think we went for hours with those memes, just going back and forth without talking, just giving each other different gifts. Like, I can't believe he told me. I can't believe. So it was really, but that's also what our show is going to be. A lot of people are going to hear a lot about all this stuff on the show. So be ready.
Yeah, let me know if you do any serial killer ones, Lynda.
Well, whatever, we have folks in the group that like to share that info. I know we just recently shared one where everybody, and I don't know if those are facts, but now I want to research to see, is this really real? It was like, yeah. It showed like Virgo and Libra, I think, and it just showed like all these different signs, and there was just one that kept on showing up a lot. I'm like, I'm just glad I'm a Taurus. That's all. And everybody like had fun with that. Like everybody because the signs that were there were folks who were all serial killers, and there was like a little trend there, and I was just like, I'm just glad I'm a Taurus. That's all I'm saying. And I'm gonna leave it right here, and everybody just had a field day with that, and so yeah, everybody's, I don't think anybody's closeted about that.
So, moving on from the serial killer talk, because we could probably talk about it for hours.
Yes.
So, what do you have coming up? Anything you can obviously announce?
Well, I will tell you that the thing that one of it's already, we were supposed to announce, but it's one of those things. The only thing that I know right now is that we are at this moment doing the podcast, and we're working on our podcast, the Séance Room, and we are working on a couple more projects. One will be Séance Room, where it's video, but we are working on another project with Kalila Smith on some other stuff. So that I can share a little bit with, but not much. I will just say that we are going to be doing another different segments where it's not going to be the Séance Room. It'll be something totally under a different, but it'll still be branched with the Séance Room podcasts and videos. So there's just so much. I know Viktor. Yeah, is getting ready to get his books out. So I know that he has 2 books. He's finally getting the second part of An Honest Evil, which is going to be coming out this year. And then he has another good book that he's working on. I can't share that part, but I know that he's working on that one. And I'm excited for him on that, because it is it's something that I know he's been waiting for to do, and I'm really excited, and I love seeing how the characters are building. And I know he has some other projects that have come his way that I'm excited for him, so you're going to be seeing a lot of different, it's like you're going to see us, but you're going to see us in so many different hats, so, which we're excited about, and we like that. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, and I think it would be good to see Viktor in a bit of the light as well, because he's kind of like, I don't know if you'll agree, but he's kind of a bit like out of the quietness corner, that kind of thing,
He is. The thing about Viktor is Viktor has always had that. He's just born with that natural sense, and Viktor is always an observer, and he's always so if he's observing, it could be that spirit's talking to him, or it could be that he's creating a character right there in there.
Does he have different personalities, Lynda? Is that what you're saying?
There's something about the authors in the author's world. You just don't know who you have sometimes. Thank God they use all that creativity to write and do the books and stories. So, but I can say it's always awesome. It's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment in the Salazar's household.
I can imagine.
believe me, as y'all well experienced, you know, how he just went with that British accent, which we will never let him down.
Yeah. When I was listening back to the last time we had you on, it was that one where we freaked out, you know, where we thought I was like in the same room.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, yes. That was just it, you know, and that's just Viktor and I being ourselves, you know, and we was just so funny. I was like, I can't, what? Like, where did you come from?
Kind of like he'd seen the ghost. It was kind of like he'd seen a ghost, didn't he? I remember you saying he'd just gone like pale.
Oh my God, it was just so, yeah, yeah. That is another thing that you'll be catching on our show a lot. You know, Rick, our producer, sound guy, everything. He's not a paranormal person. Like, he's never done paranormal. He's just, you know, he's more in the music industry, but he was like, hey, let's do, you know, I want to be this, help y'all out with the sound and everything. And I was like, this is great. So, Rick has had some great experiences doing a paranormal podcast with us, and he has caught some stuff that he just, so you're going to hear a lot of his surprises coming out when you hear him, because he's just like, oh my God. And you know, he's a big tech.
Is he one of them? One of them. That sounds bad, doesn't it?
And the thing is, he, you know, he has his, he knows his audio. He knows what's supposed to be there and what's not supposed to be there. And how the heck did that get in there? Like, he's like, where did that come from? You know?
Yeah.
And we're like, forgot to tell you that sometimes happens depending what the show, the topic is about. So
is he like, kind of what? So if you're saying that with the sound, so does he kind of like say, like, if you listen to an EVP, you'll know if it's like natural or paranormal?
He actually, with the sound, and it's funny that you say that, because it can be actually, I actually talked to, before I met Rick, I had talked to a audio tech person, and she was out from California, and it was when we were at the Vampire Ball, and she was there being the audio tech for a band, because it was Voodoo Fest. And I had asked her that question. I said, let me ask you something. You know, you're an audio tech, and what, with the frequencies, when you are listening and you see the audio waves, because y'all have that whole system, what do you believe that there could be EVPs, what we know, like electronic? And she was like, definitely. She says, as a matter of fact, she goes, our professor had us go out to the cemetery. And she said, and that was one of our practices. Our practices was just picking up sound in the middle of the cemetery. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just going out there thinking we were picking up the wind, or we were picking up, you know, different sounds. And, you know, she said, and there was like traffic going around. So it was also busy, and sometimes not busy. So, and she said when they played back, he was showing them the different frequencies on the line and everything. And everybody was like, but what's that? And he's like, well, he goes, that's where you throw, he goes, that's where, you know, your EVP comes from. He goes, we don't know what that is, you know? Yeah. So I do know that audio folks do have some practices on that. And even now with Rick coming in, him being new to, he's more of a MUFON. He's always been a MUFON, UFO, person. He just told me that, and I was like, hey, that's good. We need a MUFON person in our, like, he loves us reading about all the MUFON folks and stuff. And so, but yes, their EVPs can be picked up, and they are definitely out there. It's just getting that right technique to make it, to bring it out. You know what I mean? And what system. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes things just come out in the natural on its own.
Yeah. And I think it works good as well if you're in the right environment too.
Yes. I think EVPs are going to happen. You know, they're going to happen Not all the time, but I think if you're one that is sensitive and you listen and you know when you feel that different, like I can sometimes feel that certain vibe in the room. There's just something within the air or within my surroundings that I'll be like, okay, what's, if you listen good, but I'm not always going to be turning on my EVP recorder. I just know that there's something there. And sometimes, wherever you're at, there's so much history. Like we live on a battleground area, this was all a battleground. So, will there be sometimes stuff picked up? Maybe not, I think it all depends on the person.
Mm-hmm. So we have like 5 minutes left. So would you like to let everybody know where they can get in contact with you, Lynda?
Yes. Everyone, you can contact me through Facebook. They can all, find me under Lynda Salazar, and that's Lynda with a Y. And also, they can definitely find us in the Séance Room. It's called the Séance Room, which is, on Facebook. So if you were to go, you can find us at the official Séance Room. And we are on Twitter, which is at Séance The. I know that's a little strange. And then we're also on Instagram, the official Séance Room. And then you'll find us on YouTube under the Séance Room. And then on Parasearch Radio, I hope I said not Parasearch. I'm sorry, Spreaker. I always get on Spreaker. You will find us under the Séance Room. So yes, wow. and I do know that you might be hearing us under another radio branch as well. So there's been a few offered. So yes, so you might hear us on other branches as well.
Exciting times ahead for you then, eh?
Let's just say there's just so much out there that's opening up, and we're just like, we're ready. We're like, yeah, everybody knows that we were away for a while and we were taking that break, but everybody knows that we're back and we're ready. So we are ready.
With that said, I'm going to obviously say a few things. I won't get emotional, don't worry. Before we say goodbyes, but as most of everybody knows who's listening to this show, this is PSH Radio's last show this evening on the Parasearch Radio Network, because if you don't know, sadly, on the 28th of February, Parasearch Radio ceased broadcasting, but don't worry, we'll all be back, just, separate networks or things like that. Keep an eye on all the social medias. So it's a good night from Lynda.
Good night, everyone.
And it's a good night from me.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.